For your artist research presentation, you are going to be choosing an artist from the following list. If you don't see an artist on here that you're interested in researching, send me an email requesting that and I'll look into it. But this is going to be a presentation, either using PowerPoint or Google Slides. And let's go over what I'm expecting in these slides. So the length of the presentation needs to be about 16 to 23 slides. And when you're talking about designing the background, designing the style of fonts, you need to keep it at a minimum. So no more than 3 different backgrounds for your presentation, no more than 3 different font styles for the entire presentation. I will go over this in the other video talking about how to use PowerPoint correctly and some design features when setting up a quality presentation. With information, you don't want to overload the slide with information. Most of the information that you give is through your presenting, your spoken part. So when you're creating slides for people to look at, you just give minimal information on the slide. You don't want to overload it, because a lot of the times people will either listen to what you are saying or they will read the slide, but they won't do both. You will have at least 3 references and they will be listed on your presentation. And then the last feature is that you are going to record yourself for each slide. I will be showing that in the video on how to do that with PowerPoint, or you can create a video like I'm doing right now. So it needs to be 5 to 10 minutes in length. So let's go a little bit more into what is expected on the slides. So of course I've listed these. There's 12 things that need to be put in the slides. I have to the right of those, I tell you exactly how many slides you should do for that information. So the first one is the title page. Of course, 1 slide of this, I want you to list off the name of the artist, put your name on it, and a photo relating to that artist. It doesn't have to necessarily be a picture of the artist. It could be an artwork by the artist, or it could be something that represents that artist. It could be a clip art. On the second part, we want to have the introduction. Who is this artist that we're being introduced to? Give a brief discussion of their birth, where did they come from, who are their parents, some information, some interesting facts about them up until they start getting into their art career. So maybe they apprenticed up until that point, or maybe they just went out into the work field and they didn't go to school. Up until that point is the introduction, using about 2 to 3 slides for that introduction. Put photographs on there, put other information on there. Again, we'll discuss setting up your PowerPoint in another video. Number 3, early art career. This is where you are going to talk about when they first started creating art, and break up their art career. Some artists went for much longer periods of time, so kind of break that period up. Maybe, their early art career is the first 10 years of their art, or if they were only artists for 30 years, maybe it was the first 10 to 15 years. So break it up in that matter. 2 to 3 slides for that information. The next is a gallery. You're going to do a few of these throughout the presentation, and you'll kind of notice a pattern with things. So a gallery is 2 photos of their early artwork. So the early art career that you talk about in the slides above, now you're going to show 2 pieces of art from that period. You need to research and make sure that that is from that time period. So whenever you break up this artist, let's just say we have an artist who's worked 30 years as an artist. So the early art career, we're going to break this up into 3 sections: early art career, middle, and late. So the first 10 years of his 30 years total, we're going to talk about that in the early art career. Then we're going to do 2 gallery photos from that time period. So make sure you know what that time period is and place it in that category. For each artwork, you're going to include the following information: name of the artwork, the year it was created, the medium used to create this artwork, the size of the artwork, and its location. Sometimes art is in a private collection, so if it's a private collection, just put that. If you know the location of the private collection, add that to it. You could, if it's in a museum, list off the name of the museum and the location of that museum. One slide for those 2 photos. Our 5th thing we're going to do is analyze an early art career work. So you're going to choose an photo, or not a photo, but an artwork from that early period that you are going to analyze. You cannot choose one that you chose for the gallery. Okay, so you're going to have 2 photos for the gallery and a different photo for your analysis. You're going to discuss one element of art that you notice most prevalent in that artwork and one principle used in that artwork. You're going to interpret it. Maybe read something about that artwork or understand what the story is, and you are going to interpret that on that slide. 1 to 2 slides for that. Here comes that repetition again. So now we're moving on to the middle art career. So if we've got that artist I said that's worked 30 years, now we're in year 11 to 21. There we go. So in between that period, now we're going to discuss what's going on in that middle stage. Okay, what's going on with their art career. 2 to 3 slides for that information. Next one, we're going to discuss, or I'm sorry, we're going to add 2 photos from that time period, from the middle years. And again, you're going to have a gallery for those. You're going to have 2 photos. You're going to give the information of the name of the artwork, the year it was created, blah, 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 blah. Right? You are going to analyze, I can't speak today, analyze a middle career artwork. Again, this is something different than what you chose for the gallery photos. Discuss what element of art used in it, one principle of design used in it, interpret that artwork. Now we've moved on to the late career, to the end of their art career and their death. Now, were they famous post-mortem? Like Vincent van Gogh. He wasn't famous at all during his lifetime, and then after his death, that's when when he became famous, when he became well known. So some of your artists might have more of a post-mortem impact. If your artist does, add that in there. But this is where you discuss the end of their art career to their death, and choose 2 photos from that period to put in your gallery, and then analyze another photo of an artwork from that same time period. The last thing that you are going to add is the references. You'll list off your minimum of 3 references used on this presentation. The next video is going to be about how to use PowerPoint, setting it up, what it should look like, using the recording features, etc.